welcome back to another episode of Calcio Culture. We got two hosts today, Motts with Vos. Vos, how are you doing today?
We're so back. I haven't been on here in a very long time, so we apologize for that. We let everybody know. Everybody's been asking where we are, which is, I guess, positive for us.
That is a positive
means people
thing.
Care.
We've had multiple people reach out, multiple fans of the pod reach out, which is a good feeling. Also a really bad feeling because we've been so MIA. So we want to start off this episode by apologizing. We did apologize in a different episode that will be coming out as well that we have recorded.
That's out. That is out right now.
Perfect. So that one you got an apology in that episode. You're going to get an apology in this episode. And you might get an apology in the next one just because we feel so bad. But listen, this is our second time thing. Like, we all have our own lives and our own day jobs and our own prior commitments, and things get hectic and it's tough to do it every week. I will say we put our hands up. A month is too long. We apologize, but we're back. We got the bonus coverage with the big announcement of the World Cup, which we'll have another episode coming out shortly of the World Cup coverage. But this episode is going to be the kind of cap off of the 25-26 season. I know the episode Logan and I did the other day, we said it was that episode, but it's this one because we got the Serie A 25-26 team of the season coming at you live right at home. Shout out Ted Lasso on this episode. So we'll be going through the team of the season for the Serie A. Excited to get into this.
Yeah, this is the perfect cap off, right? Like, you need a team of the season to end it. All the team of the season that were announced are fucking terrible, so we had to make our own one, and that'll be it. We'll turn the page on this and get straight to the World Cup after that, which everybody's going to be interested in hearing about, I'm sure.
Yes, excited. I don't if you guys listen to the last one. Logan let you know what games we're going to. If you look behind me, you'll see the Ivory Coast Ecuador scarf there that we got, so that check that off the list. World Cup game went to. Got another one tomorrow, France versus Senegal. Hoping to get that scarf as well, but they do sell quickly. But I'm excited, and we'll kind of talk about the Ivory Coast, Ecuador, the atmosphere, and all that in a later episode. So let's go ahead and get this started, Vos. I'm going to pass it over to you to run the show for the Serie A team of the season, 25-26. And this is obviously the Calcio Culture's team of the season, so it is the correct one, right? Because to Vos's point, all the other ones were absolutely terrible.
Yeah, they were trash. The other ones are trash, so we'll get right into it. Wow, I haven't been on here in a while, so I got to get used to talking again. But to kind of set the stage here, we went 3-5-2 in classic Italian fashion as we had to. And then we also have a coach in here, and then we have a little bit of a bench spot in each position just to give a couple honorable mentions. Kind of what went into this. Motts, feel free to jump in if you have anything you want to add. Stats matter, but I think there's other untangible things that we kind of take into account. So we didn't just go look at the score sheet and kind of throw everybody in there, which we see a lot of the time. We take into account kind of what we see on the pitch. We take into account where the team finishes on the table, because if you get in the team of the season, like, your team kind of has to do well, right? Because you have to will them a little bit higher, and you have to have a really big impact on that. So that kind of sets the stage. We'll go back to front. I think that's what makes the most sense, Matt, starting at goalie.
Yes, goalie is going to be who should have been goalie of the year last year.
He was.
He will be. Well, he should have been
in the Calcio.
Calcio Culture goalie of the season last year, but he didn't make it due to Logan, which I think very clearly we have seen that he deserved it last year and he deserved it again this year. And that is going to be Svilar from Roma. I think he's been the best goalie in the league for the last 2 years by a lot, although Carnesecchi did have a great season this year. But I think it's got to go to Svilar. They had allowed were they tied or were they the least amount of goals? Second least amount of goals at 31 this season. And I think a lot of that is due to Svilar. He made a lot of game-winning saves, game-tying saves to save Roma at least one or get all 3 points. And in the last episode, I did mention that is what allowed Roma to make the Champions League, is their striker and their goalie play. Svilar won them a ton of games, saved them a ton of games. I'm not sure how many big-time saves he made, but he made a ton. And even in the last match week against Verona, one-on-one with the goalkeeper, Svilar saved it, and it changed the game for them. So Svilar, we're starting off in goal. Svilar, the rightful goalie of the season. He won goalie of the year again, making it 2 years in a row. Should have been Calcio Culture's goalie in the team of the season last year, but he is this year. We will not make the same mistake twice. I forbid it, Logan.
Yeah, fair. And I think just to take it one step further on kind of the behind the scenes piece of this, all year we talked about Roma, kind of what was going wrong for them, how they had a really good, basically defensive record all year. And I think for the most part, and as we go through the rest of our team, we're basically saying that's because of Svilar, right? He had an okay defense in front of him, but really he is the reason that they finished this high from a defensive perspective. And just to kind of like showcase that, he had 18 clean sheets. 47% of the games he played in, they had a clean sheet, which is absolutely ridiculous if you think about it like that. And really quick, just to touch on Carnesecchi, he's kind of our backup goalie in this instance. And for me, like it's kind of take your pick. I think Svilar you have to give it to because of how high they finished, how important he was. But Carnesecchi, for the most part, was just as good. I mean, he didn't have as many clean sheets. Whether that's because of Atalanta or him is another question. But he had a phenomenal season as well. So I just think he deserves a shout out. But I don't want to spend too much time on goalkeeper because I think it's a little less interesting than the rest.
It's just Svilar is by far the best player in the position. Carnesecchi had a great year, but Svilar is a overall better keeper. And as I mentioned, deserved it last year, deserved it this year, the rightful spot.
Yep. And he's going to probably be right back in the running for it next year, too. I don't
Without
think
a doubt.
Reason to not think so. Okay. I'm moving it on. We got a back three, like we said. So you want to just go one at a time or do you want to rattle them off and we talk about them? One at a time.
I would say one at a time.
You lead then, because this is your guy, obviously. You got to lead with.
So right center back, we have Kalulu. Now, obviously, Juventus finished in 6th place. They did allow 34 goals, which is actually the third least amount. And the anchor, the rock, the most consistent player of that back three all season was Kalulu. If you look at his stats, they just jump off the page. He played the only game he didn't play the full 90 was the game against Inter where he got the red card. That was an undeserving red card. Other than that, he played every single minute of every single game. He had 3 assists, 2 goals and 4 assists. I apologize. For a right center back, that's very solid numbers. But where he really kind of separated himself was on the defensive side. He won 223 duels this season, which is just an insane amount. And for a smaller center back, he also won 44 aerial duels. And his minutes played were over 3,000 as well, obviously because he didn't miss any games. So whereas Juventus as a whole didn't have that good of a season, Kalulu was the most consistent, the anchor of the team, and that's how he's getting into this team.
Yeah, I think the other thing that kind of, and he deserves to be in there. I mean, he was extremely consistent the whole year, contributed offensively and defensively, and was kind of just probably the most reliable player on Juve, I think, the entire season. There's an argument maybe for Locatelli, but Kalulu was just a guy that you slotted in. You knew exactly what you're going to get. And I think this season what kind of benefited him, and I guess anybody in our team this season, there were no defenders that were like titans this year. Like Bastoni wasn't great. Ndika last year was kind of like one of our guys. I don't think he was good. He wasn't phenomenal. And it kind of left the door open for somebody to step up. And that's what Kalulu did. And I think this season probably is the time where we should be looking at him and maybe giving him more credit than he deserves. I mean, he won the Scudetto with Milan. He was great for Juve last year, looking like literally one of the best bargain signings ever for that team. And now just drops another phenomenal season. You're kind of looking to next year. And that's not an area where Juve even need to consider improving, which is massive. Even if they're playing a back four, you can play him as a right back. And this entire season, he was great. He played a shitload of minutes, which is part of being a great center back is being available. I think especially at that position. And he did that and just dropped great performances week in and week out. And he deserves to be there.
Yeah. I will say I'm shocked that he got snubbed from the French national team. They obviously have a boatload of talent there, but based off his season, I thought he deserved to get in it.
I just think it's the way that he plays, like it doesn't catch the eye almost. Like he's not really big. He's not bad on the ball, but he's not great on the ball. He's just pretty athletic and doesn't really do anything stupid. And that's why he's good.
Yeah. And I guess when you kind of look at it from a different lens, from a French side, they do have like Koundé and Saliba and the player from Bayern, I'm forgetting his name, but
Koundé, Upamecano, yeah.
Upamecano, there he goes. So they obviously have options, but in terms of Serie A this season, I think Kalulu was easily one of the top 3 defenders to make it into this team.
Agreed. Moving it on to like the center back, and it makes sense to have him here. Inter Milan won the league. Who was their best defender all year? I would say Miralem Akanji. Really hard to argue against it. I think that he was extremely consistent, holding down that center spot. Again, it's not the hardest spot in the world, but when you get it wrong, you get it extremely wrong. And I think that he was great offensively and defensively for this team, especially in a year where they transitioned. And coming into the season, it was kind of Acerbi was the guy that played there, and Akanji fully replaced him. He had Bastoni on his left, and he had kind of take your pick on the right. A lot of the time, Bissick, who he had to cover for in a lot of cases. Like Bissick gets exposed, and Bastoni got exposed this year plenty of times, and Akanji was kind of always there to pick up the pieces. And he was I think, the core of the defense for this team, even beyond their goalie and Jan Sommer. Like this is the guy that laid the foundation for the team in all phases of play, and he definitely deserves to be there. Inter won the league, and you kind of have to put the best defender on the team in the team of the season for the best team in the league.
Yeah, and I also just want to add too, in terms of Akanji, he brought a winning pedigree, a type of leadership that they probably lacked last season without winning trophies. And coming from Manchester City, being in that locker room, seeing what winning looks like, he definitely brought that to Inter and was able to provide some leadership that Inter didn't have last season. But in terms of some of his statistics this year, he played 33 games for Inter. He did score 2 goals. They had 16 clean sheets, and he was in the third most accurate passer in the league at 92.6. So he was a big part in their build-up play and them able to dominate possession with him being so good on the ball, which is something that they obviously had last year with Bastoni, but adding another player like Akanji on the ball rather than an Acerbi in that position, right, just allowed them to play that much more possession-based football and build up better from the back, and dominate the game, possession battle of the game. I've always been a ginormous fan of Akanji.
Yeah, you have.
I was very, very upset that when he went to Inter because I've always wanted him at Juve, but having a player of this caliber in the league is great for Serie A. He had a great season. It's his first year. We see people struggle transitioning to a new league. I don't think he struggled for 1 second. I think he showed very quickly that he is one of the best defenders in the league, on the ball, off the ball, aerial, and one of the best leaders. So for me, this was a no-brainer of him making the team of the season.
All right, and then last one off the left, even though he kind of plays off the right. This one might be a surprise to people, and I think if you don't watch a lot of Serie A, this is one that's really, really easy to miss. But we went with Como's Jacobo Ramón, who played the most minutes out of any of their defenders, came from Real Madrid over to Como, Spanish player, plays exactly like you would expect a Spanish center back to play, gets on the ball a ton, doesn't really lose the ball a ton, really tall, really physical, smart player, and just does exactly what you want Como to do, right? Like, they're a team that likes to keep the ball, they like to control the game, and this is the kind of center back you need on the team to actually play that way. And without him, they can't play the way that they play. He scored a couple goals this year and was just a phenomenal player. He's going to be back on the team next year. He's going to be a force on the team next year, and he's going to be a player that we're going to watch for a really long time. Whether he stays on Como remains to be seen, but I think he deserves to be there. Como had the best defense in the league, and he played the most minutes of any of the defenders on the team, and has to be in the team of the season because of that. I don't know what else you're arguing against this one.
Yeah, that's without a doubt. I didn't know what to expect from him, obviously, this season, but he showed he definitely belongs to being a starter in this league. In terms of some of his stats as well, he had 528 ball regains, which ranked 19th in the Serie A. He had 67% aerial duels, and he was top 15 in the offensive expected threatening. So he was part of Como's build-up play. He was one of the key reasons why Como were able to keep possession the way they did, and play the way that they play, because he's so good on the ball. And then he's very, very strong in the air as well. So he's just scratching the surface, and he's making the team of the season at his ripe age of, I believe, 21. So more to come from him, but I'm very impressed with him as a defender, his poise at a young age. I mean, I think there was no question in my mind that he deserved to be the third center back in this team.
Great. And our bench spot, we'll talk about it now.
Yes.
So our bench center back, we went with Pavlovic from Milan. I think that there's kind of a drop-off in my mind from like this top three to like this wasn't a hard decision for me to put the top three together, and then the bench guy was kind of like forcing him in there a little bit. Like I think Pavlovic took a huge step forward this year from last year. Obviously, he benefited from an Allegri system, but I think he was Milan's best defender. I thought he kind of was dominant in a lot of games this year, which is important as a center back. Going to next year, it's going to be a completely different story with what Milan looks like, but I think you have to give your tip of your cap to Pavlovic, but again, I think he was a little bit below the level of the other three guys that we included in here.
Yeah, but I agree, but he took a very, very big step forward this season. Last season, we saw him
he looked like
give the ball away.
Yeah.
He was good in spurts, but he was also really bad in spurts. His positioning was really bad last season. He was a lot more organized, much better on the ball. Still was his very much destroyer self in terms of winning the ball back and man marking kind of the bigger nines in the league. But where he really took a big step forward other than positioning this season was also progressing the ball, going forward. He scored one of the goals of the season, and I believe he had a couple of assists. I don't know his stats off the top of my head, but he was much better in progressive play. He was much better going forward, much better positionally, man marking. He showed very, very big improvements from last season to the point where he now has like a $50 to $60 million price tag on his head, which last season it was probably going to be 30, 35, right? So you give some of that credit to Allegri, but that's what you get when you're coached by Allegri. So I do agree it was a little bit of a drop off, but I think Pavlovic is deservedly in the reserves of this squad.
And he went 5 goals, 1 assist on the season. Like you'll definitely take that from a center back.
Exactly.
That wraps up the center back territory. We're going 3-5-2 because we had to, because it's Italy. Into wing backs. Left wing back, I mean, if you follow Serie A at all, you know who our guy's going to be. He was a Serie A MVP. Inter's Federico Di Marco. Very much the best player in the league this season. Played a shitload of minutes, just under 2,700. 7 goals, 16 assists, bringing him to 23 total goal contributions from a wing back. Just absolutely ludicrous numbers. Destroys the Serie A assist record. It just was the best player on the best team. So he's in the team. There's no question about it. I mean, this was such a dominant year for him that it's going to be hard for him to replicate that again. But he was so integral into the way that they played. They wanted to play through him. They played through him as much as they possibly could. And everybody knew it, but they couldn't stop it because he's just that good on set piece delivery. He's that good crossing from open play. And then he gets into the box and scores goals when he gets a chance to. Like 7 goals is a shitload for your wingback. And when you're getting that threat, it's so hard for other teams to match up. And he deserves this. He deserves Serie A MVP as well.
Yeah. I mean, definitely going to be the left wing back of the season for the Serie A. He's one of the best wingbacks in the world, as he's proven now for probably the last 2 or 3 years. This season under Chivu, he was able to be more of have more production in terms of the goals and assists. He did have like a little period where he wasn't the same player for a month or two. But what he really improved on was his fitness and playing the full 90 minutes, and him being able to do that. He was able to contribute more on the stat sheet with the goals and assists. So this is a no-brainer. He's, like Bo said, MVP of the Serie A, one of the best years a wingback we've seen maybe ever, with breaking the assist record and still having 7 goals, 23 goal contributions in total. Yeah, there's not much more that needs to be said about Di Marco. He's one of the best in the world.
Yeah, definitely. And flipping it over to the other side, this one was a little bit tougher. We kept it consistent with the defender of the year this year, Marco Palestra from Cagliari. Obviously finished a little bit further down the table, but this guy really burst onto the scene this year. Played 37 games, goal, 4 assists for a team that's kind of battling at the bottom is pretty ridiculous. If you guys haven't watched him, he's probably going to be making a move this year, and you're going to see him. His name's going to be coming up a lot. Really fast, really physical, good at defending, good at attacking, covers an insane amount of ground. Is going to be part of the Italian national team going forward. And I just think off of pure body of work, availability that he had this year, he deserves to get into the team over some other guys that we're going to mention in a second. But this is a a massive pickup for Italy, and for him to get into this in a league that has a lot of good wingbacks, it says a lot because he's really young, and this was his first full season being able to put pedal to the metal, and he absolutely did. He took advantage of his opportunities, and now he's in our team of the season and got Defender of the Year.
Yeah, Defender of the Year from the Serie A. From an age perspective, he is 21, to Vosa's point. And once again, the leap that he took from last season to this season is more than enough. His price tag right now, because Inter are very interested in him, is 50 million. So that should tell you enough of the type of season he had last season. He created 21 chances. His dribbles 56.5% dribble successful. So he's not afraid to take on his man and create chances on a team that does have a low block and is not creating a lot. And he was able to win the ball. 62.8% of his duels won. So he's not afraid to get stuck in and win the ball back for his team. And the thing for me that I saw out of him this season that I was so impressed was his fearlessness. At 21 years of age, he wasn't afraid of the big moment. He wasn't afraid to take on his man. He wasn't afraid to make a mistake. And in doing so, he became one of the best wingbacks in the league at 21 and is ready to take the next step to play 3 games a week, to play for an Inter, to play for a Roma or a Champions League-esque team. And he justified his price tag of 50 million.
Yeah. And then I guess this is like a good transition to talk about our bench guy, because I think he deserves a ton of flowers as well, and definitely could have gotten into this team. And that's Roma's Wesley, who was I would say their best signing of the season. This was his first year in Serie A. Oh, yeah, second best. No, good point. Second best. But for me, he scored 5 goals, no assists, was a massive part of this Roma team who kind of were a little shaky, right? Like offensively, and he was such a big part of their offense. For me, what pushed Palestra above him is Palestra logged almost, I think, 600 minutes more than Wesley, which I think is meaningful enough to kind of push Palestra in there, because Wesley did have a little bit of an injury-ridden season here and there, but that's not to knock him at all. I thought he was spectacular, and if he was able to be available for a full season, I'm 100% sure he would be in this team. I expect really big things from him next year, and I don't think he's available for most of the World Cup, but it kind of sucks because I think a lot of people would have seen him and been blown away by how good he was. And that's the truth about him. When I see him, I see like a Dani Alves level player, and I think he's going to get there, and Roma need to hang on to him because he's going to be such a key part of this team moving forward. And he's a very exciting player at the very least.
Yeah, without a doubt. And what I would say the best part about Wesley, in my opinion, is his ability to play both flanks. Like, we saw him play both sides of the field. He covers an insane amount of ground. He is a good defender. He's great going forward. He plays great crosses in. He's always looking to attack. So he's just got the mindset you want as a player. And I definitely agree. This was probably the closest in terms of the two in this position. If it was going to be Wesley or Palestra, it could have gone either way. You already listed the reasons why we went with Palestra, but more to come from Wesley. He's going to be a scary player in this Gasperini system with another year under his belt. I would not be shocked if he makes the team next year as a starter with double-digit assists and around 5 or 6 goals like he did this season. But the assists will just take a big jump. But another thing that I'll quickly say about Wesley is that the quality of the goals that he scored, I felt like where all of them were of very high quality, bending it far post, whether it be the left or the right foot. I remember the goal against Juventus. I believe that was with the right foot, bending it far post. So the goals that he scored this season were all very highlight-esque. He's a great player, 2-footed, as I mentioned, great with both flanks, and just his ability to cover ground is very impressive.
I think the other thing I'm excited about him is, like, as Roma gets better offensively, we're going to see even better parts of him, because he's really scary going forward. And if you kind of like drag people away from him and make him like not the only focal point, then he can be really dangerous, because he's a good 1v1. He's like very much a winger as well as a defender.
Yeah.
So I like him.
No, he's great going forward, but he's just as good at defending. He's not as good aerially as who I'm about to say, but he's probably going to be he's like the new Denzel Dumfries in terms of the Serie A and the wingback position. Like, he's going to be the player moving forward, probably, that is like the best wingback in the league after he takes the next step next season under Gasperini.
I like to shout into the midfield 3. I'm going to start with the midfielder of the year, because I think that makes the most sense. There's not really much to talk about other than he's fucking nasty. He's probably, we don't know where he's going to be next year, right? Nothing.
He said that
yet.
he wants to play for Como, but Real Madrid obviously are not going to let him play for Como for 10 million when he's probably worth
Inter want him. And it's Nico Paz. Como's Nico Paz. He is the best player on Como. He is one of the best players in the league on this year. He had 12 goals, 6 assists, 18 total goal contributions, 33 starts, 35 matches played. And I mean, what else do you need to say? He is the core piece of everything Como have done and has gotten them in the Champions League. He's the best player on the team. And now the sky's the limit for him. Like there isn't not enough good things you can say about him. He can kind of play all over the field. The way that they play is to get him the ball as much as they possibly can because he's that good. Obviously linked to Real Madrid and Inter Milan now, which just goes to show the caliber of player he is. But he was so dominant again this year. And every single game that he plays in, he does not get phased out of the game. And I think that's the biggest compliment you can give to him, because when you face Como, he's the guy you're game planning around 100% of the time. And he still finds a way to show up and be effective every game. Even when he doesn't score, he's effective. He is always taking long shots, getting into the box, does everything right, makes no mistakes, and is just a ridiculously good player. And he could very well be a part of the Argentina setup and actually playing in games in the World Cup this summer.
Yeah. Listen, there's not many players in today's game like Nico Paz. They say that the number 10 is kind of dying with these new systems that all the managers play under. But when you watch Nico Paz, you have one word to say, and it's creative, right? Like he's creates moves on like that no one has seen before in terms of his dribbling. He tries things that a 21-year-old shouldn't be trying, and he doesn't just try them, he succeeds in those things. Who he really reminded me of this season was Paulo Dybala. Like he had a very Paulo Dybala-esque season at Juventus his first year. I think they had pretty similar assists. I think Dybala had 16 goals and 6 assists, and Nico Paz obviously had 12. Like he is going to be the next generation of superstar, whether that's in the Serie A, our fingers are crossed, or whether that's in another league. He is what makes people fall in love with soccer, his creativity, the things that he can do with his left foot. He is just like a one-of-a-kind player that you don't really see anymore. And there was no question he was getting in this league. A 21-year-old, newly promoted 2 years ago, willing their way to Champions League is unheard of. And he was he pulled the strings. He was obviously their best player, deservingly the midfielder of the year. I think he also won Rising Player of the Year. Maybe he did that last year, and then Yildiz won it this year. I can't remember which one.
I think Yildiz won it this year.
But yeah, 21 years old, dominated this league, and I hope Como can retain him because they got Champions League football, and I'm excited for him to take that next step. But whether it's with Como or Inter, he's definitely going to be playing Champions League soccer next season.
Or Real Madrid. Hopefully not.
He might not be playing Champions League soccer with Real Madrid because it's so hard to get in that squad.
Yeah, true. Kicking it on, a little bit more debate here in the other kind of spots in the team. We'll go to this next guy who I fucking love. Second year in the league. Had another great season. That's Scott McTominay. When we were thinking about this, the midfield in a group, it's a little bit tough because I think same thing with the defenders. It's the same thing with the midfielders. I think there were very few.
Before you, let me just
standouts.
quickly just jump in here, Vos. Obviously, we've been covering the league this whole year. You guys have been with us this whole year. It's no secret that the quality maybe dropped off a little bit this year. So there wasn't really standout players across the team this season besides a few, right? There wasn't that many no-brainers, and so that's leads us into the next discussion of the midfielder. So keep going, Bose.
Yeah. So our second midfielder, Scott McTominay, he played 31 starts, 33 appearances for Napoli, who came in second place, which I think says a lot. Like this was the guy that was the best player on the team in an injury-riddled season where realistically they probably shouldn't have finished in second place, if you're asking me. And on top of that, 10 goals, 3 assists. Like that's another haul from a midfielder. Like double-digit goals from a midfielder that kind of is a box-to-box midfielder is ridiculous. And I think last year kind of made it hard for him to live up to expectations again this year. And he did in a lot of ways, but it kind of went under the radar because Napoli weren't great, but they still came in second place. And being in second place, he was the best player on the team, was the most consistent player on the team, had a great season from a statistical standpoint, was very available regardless of the couple injuries that he had. Again, still played 33 games, 2,800 minutes, just under that. And for me, like, he's kind of got to be in there. I think he's the lock second midfielder behind Nico Paz. And then I think then there's a bigger debate. But he was great this year, and I expect him to be great again next year.
Yeah, I mean, he won midfielder of the year last year, and yes, one can argue he might not have had that good of a year this year, but I would disagree with that because to your point, Napoli were riddled with injuries all year long, and he did get a little bit injured at one point in the season, but for the most part, he was the one consistent anchor in the midfield that you can depend on to win the ball back, to score goals, to set up chances, to get to the second ball in the box. 10 goals for a midfielder is a haul, like you said. But what's even a more impressive stat is they had 58 goals on the season, and he scored 10 of them. That's like almost 20% of the total goals scored. I think it's like just over 15. Like he was a lot of their offense, and he didn't have his best players around him to create or take some of the stress off of him. And to take it a step further, he was played not in the same position that he was last year that he succeeded so well when KDB came in. So he had to kind of morph and adapt, and he still did what he did last year. And yeah, like this guy's one of the best players in the league, and he's been that since he joined in the league.
Yeah, and I think to put it into perspective, like Nico Paz had 18 goal contributions. Scott McTominay had 13. And what Scott McTominay is asked to do on the defensive side of football is astronomically more than Nico Paz. So like to be able to put up those numbers, but then also be required to cover every blade of grass on the field is ridiculous. And he's probably the only player in the league that's capable of doing it.
Yeah, and to piggyback on that, they play through Scott McTominay in a way, but it's not the way that Como play through Nico Paz.
Right. Where they just like give him the ball no matter what, like it's going to him. McTominay is not that. McTominay gets into the box where he needs to try to get out the end of a header. He takes shots from distance, scored a ton of great goals this year from distance. And then where he needs to participate in build-up, he does. I mean, Labatka was out this year and he had to go help Billy Gilmore a lot of the time and like just play different roles. He played left mid sometime this year. So definitely deserves it. And we can kick it on to the next guy, I think, because this one's a little bit more interesting.
Yeah. So once again, the similar theme, it was a lot of guys that it could have went either way. We decided to go with the veteran of all veterans, the 1 year mercenary, Luka Modrić. Now, I think that Luka Modrić had an interesting season because halfway through the season, everyone was like, this guy is world class, which obviously he is. Milan were fighting for the Scudetto. They were in pole position to maybe make a run to win that Scudetto, but we all know what Allegri spoke into existence that we don't want to win the Scudetto, and it ended up making them drop out of the Champions League because of that. But with that said, you don't know where Milan end up without Luka Modrić. He was his stats don't jump off the page at you. Obviously, they never did, even when he was in his prime of his career. So I don't really want to get into the stats, but what he does just to dictate and control a game is just second to none. And he was doing it at 41 years old, playing every game 90 minutes until he broke his cheekbone, which I also want to talk about because yes, were they slipping with him on the field? Yes, they were towards the later half of the season. But when he broke his cheekbone, they won one game. Like they didn't know how to play soccer.
True.
They didn't know how to create opportunities. That constant pacer pulling the strings, the maestro was gone, and you could feel it every minute of the game. There was no point where you're like, oh, Milan's kind of organized right now. Like he organized them. He had them keep possession. He had them pace. He had them in every game, whether or not they won every game. For the most part, they weren't blown out, but that was due to Luka Modrić create constant pacing and controlling of the game. And he just plays football so beautifully. So once again, it could have went a couple different ways, but we felt that what he did for the season for Milan, even though they did finish outside the Champions League only by a point, he was the reason why they were even close to finishing the Champions League. And at one point, they had the Scudetto they were in the running for it.
Yeah, and if Milan win one more game this year, they're in third place. And if you say Milan finishes in third, Luka Modrić is 100% of the team this season. And it's not even a question. I think the only slight on them is that they didn't get there, to your point. but he was the best player on the team, not even over the course of the year, in every game that he played. And in most of those games, he was the best player on both teams and just the best player on the field in all of those games. And every single time we watched him, we're just like, oh, another masterclass, another masterclass, another masterclass. And he was just limited by the cast that he had around him and by this style of play that they were forced to play in. And he still rose to this level. That was just ridiculous in a position he also has not played before. He played a completely different position, and I agree with you 100%. He was one of the 3 best midfielders in Serie A this year, at the end of the day, regardless of what happened, where Milan finished, and I think he has to be in this team, especially when you go and look at, like we've been saying, nobody else really took the bull by the horns this year, and Modrić did in the way that he could, and he deserves to be in this team because of that.
Yeah, and this to wrap up with him, kind of going off of what you said, if Milan won a game, it was Luka Modrić was the man of the match. And if they didn't win a game, it was, well, Luka Modrić kind of had them in the game until they lost it.
yeah, exactly. 100%.
That's going to be a big hole for them to replace. We'll see how they replace that.
Yeah, who knows what they're going to be next year. But quick honorable mention here.
Oh, yes. Honorable mention in the midfield was Hakan. Now, this was a tough one because he just didn't play enough games. He only played 22 games out of 38 matches in the Serie A because of injuries. But what everyone saw if they were watching Inter was when Hakan was not in the game, Inter didn't look like as good as Inter normally look. Like he really is the guy who pulls the strings, similar to a Luka Modrić for Inter, but he stepped up his game statistically this year, scoring 9 goals and getting 4 assists. Now, 9 goals as a maestro, as the guy who sits behind the 2 center mids, is so impressive. He was banging goals from outside the box this season.
In big moments, too. Like, he I think, and part of the reason me and Motts almost put him in the team is the games that he played in, he was the actual difference maker. Like, he is the reason that Inter won games in the games that he was playing in. And these were some of, like, the biggest games of the year against the biggest teams at the biggest stage. And we're just pulling these goals out of nowhere. And, like, his highlight reel was ridiculous this year.
Yeah. And then you add on the fact that he was just the pace setter for Inter in the games that he was in. It was really, really hard to leave him off, to be honest. But it just goes back to just the games played. Like, he almost didn't play half the season, which is unfortunate because he's capable of such peaks when he's on the pitch.
Yeah.
I would be willing to say, like, he might hit the ball, number one, the hardest in the world. And he just hits it so uniquely every time that you have no idea where the ball is going. He has such control over the ball. And you see that in every game, but you really see it when he takes the penalties. I think he's 20 for 21 with Inter. Like, he just puts the ball where he wants to go. He hits it 100 miles an hour. He is so impressive.
I think he's the best ball striker in the world.
Yeah.
Like, he just can do whatever he wants.
It's
like, if you give him a chance, he will score.
He's so good.
He's so good. And I wish he played more this year because he would be in the team this season if he did.
Yeah, he would.
And then going up to wrap it up here, we got 2 strikers. First one, really obvious. Striker of the year, capocannoniere winner, Lautaro Martínez. Kind of missed a lot of games this year. He started 27 games. Regardless of that, 17 goals, 6 assists, 23 total goal contributions. Was the best forward on the best offense in the league. Deserves to be in the team. Was great all year when he was available and was a massive part of why Inter won the league. He just kind of led the line and did the shit that he needed to do.
Yeah. I mean,
best striker in the league.
Yeah, and I believe he won that last year as well. So, like, he's been one of the best strikers of the Serie A in the last 3 to 5 years, I'd say. But what I'd say
Inter legend at this point. I mean,
yeah,
he has
no
been
doubt
a part
about
of this golden
the captain
run,
of the team. Yeah, he's led them to Scudetto wins, Champions League finals. And I will say this about him. We did come on here week in and week out and kind of rave about Inter's depth, right? And how Boni and Pio Esposito had great seasons. But when Lautaro's not on the pitch, you feel it with Inter. Like, they're not as good as the hold-up play. He's so good dropping back, coming deep, and recycling possession.
Sense. Like, he's so good back to basket, and he's not big.
You just feel his presence not there when Inter is playing and he's not on the pitch. And that just goes to show, like, he is very, very important for this team. He's a very important leader. He obviously scores does their goal scoring for Inter. Like Vo said, the highest scoring player on the highest scoring team. And you just know what you're going to get from him every game from now, which I think he has grown from that because
Yeah,
4 years
100%.
ago, number one, he didn't play 90 minutes like ever. And you didn't know what you were going to get. He's very inconsistent, but over the last 3 years, he's been consistent, getting you 15 to 20 goals a year, 3 to 10 assists a year, and it defensively works hard and just is a leader. So
Yeah, and I think to that point, Motts, I think what he did differently is kind of like understood what he's good at. Really good at hold up play, and then really good at like random one touch finishing in the box. And he basically just stopped doing everything else. Like he doesn't really, you never see Lautaro like take guys on one. Like he gets the ball, gets rid of it, and then runs to go score. Like that's it. He doesn't do anything beyond that.
And you know what he's really good at, which we have to give credit to? His runs in the box and positionally. He's always in the right spot at the right time. And I've seen a striker time week in and week out and Dusan Vlahovic have awful runs and never be in the right spot at the right time. So that is a skill for strikers, to make good runs and to be in the right spot at the right time. He has a nose for goal, a true poacher in today's game. And yeah, he deserves, obviously.
I mean, I think the other thing is like, regardless of who you pair him with, he does well. Like he helps elevate that other guy to play well, and he figures out what he needs to do to play off of them, which I think goes into him being the captain and being the best striker in the league.
Yeah, and I don't know if you mentioned, but he obviously won Striker of the Year.
Yeah, obviously. And then the other striker that we put in the team, who is, oh my God, coming for him next year, though, is your boy, Motts. You've been raving about him.
Yeah, I mean, this man, what he did in the Serie A, Donyell Malen, is just so impressive. I don't know if we'll ever see it again, ever. He came in January in just the Serie A, because he did score more goals for Roma in the European leagues, but in just the Serie A, he had 18 appearances, 14 goals, and 2 assists. We just got done talking about Lautaro Martínez, who for the entire year was there from the start, from September, had 17 goals. So Malen was 3 off of him and
he played 600 minutes less. 600 minutes.
It is what he has. He broke Mario Balotelli's record of goals from January to like when you were transferred in January. His match rating since he came to Roma is 7.6, which is just, I think Nico Paz is the only one that was higher. He is the reason why Roma finished in the Champions League, because he bagged 14 goals. And it was every single game. He hit the PK. I've forgotten which game, to get them to give him 3 points. He scored 2, like whatever he needed to do, he was doing for Roma. He got great assists with the Travellas. He is so good at taking on his man. It is so impressive. He doesn't care who you are. He wants to dribble by you. He wants to take you on. He is vertical. You cannot stop him. And the way he shoots on the move, the power he generates, how accurate it is. He was a steal by Roma. He was a bargain buy. I am so impressed watching him play. He's so good in tight areas. He can finish. He can head it. He
does it all.
Yeah. He's so good.
And I think the other thing, Roma was a different team with him. And he physically was the reason that they got to the point that they did. Without him, this does not happen. And he just basically put the team on his back. Like, this is definition of a guy putting the team on his back to get them across the line. Like, in every game, he was kind of left isolated, made his runs, was relentless, was pressing, did everything he needed to do to get this team to the level that they got to. And he has to be in the team. We talk about guys not playing enough to be in the team. Well, when you come in second in scoring and play less than half the season, you get into the team. Period.
I mean, listen, it's a what does the NBA say? It's a make or miss league. This dude just bagged goals left and right. If he was playing a game, he scored. So yeah, there's no doubt that he had to be in this team. And I'm honestly, what I want to see is next season, like the form that he is in, can he sustain it? If he can, Roma are serious contenders. But I am so impressed by his last 3 to 4 months, what he did with Roma. Just his dribbling, his finishing, his creating, his taking on men, his hold-up play was good. To your point, he did it in any way you wanted. If you wanted him to dribble by you, he did it. If you wanted him to run by you, he did it. If you wanted him to get like a rebound goal, he did it. Make PKs, he did it. He bagged goals. He won games for Roma, and him and Svilar hand deliver Champions League to Roma.
I agree. And next year he's got it. 36 goals is the mark to hit
That would
to tie
be
the most ever.
Yeah, that would
He is on the pace of breaking that record.
He almost had one he didn't score in the World Cup against Japan, but he had multiple opportunities.
Yeah, but he played great. The last guy we want to give a little bit of flowers here, our bench striker who literally just got displaced because Donyell Malen just popped the fuck off, is Anastasios Douvikas from Como, who had 14 goals, same as Donyell Malen, 1 assist, 1 less than Donyell Malen. And he did it all for Como, which I think is meaningful. And he had a phenomenal season. Still went under the radar, kind of under the shadow of Nico Paz and I think some other players on this team. But he had a great season, and 14 goals on the year is nothing shabby. He came in third in goals scored on the year, so just want to give him a quick shout out.
Yeah, he had a great year. I don't think any of us had him finishing as high as he did in the race for the most goals of the league. And this is, I think you or Logan said it in one of the last episodes, like, this is a guy that can just he's a good finisher. Like, he can just pass the ball into the net. And that's what Como need, because they play very pretty soccer and they need somebody at the end that can just pass the ball into the net, put it in. He's able to do that. He had a great season, and he's great for Como because he's great on the ball as well.
Yeah. And then the last thing we got to do is we got to pick a manager. The manager of the year was technically Cristian Chivu, but we want to go a different route.
Yes, Calcio Culture's manager of the year to wrap up the team of the season is none other than, you guessed it, if it's not Chivu, it's got to be Cesc Fabregas. I think we did this for a couple different reasons. Number one, during our preseason rankings, if you go back and listen, the highest any of us had Como was 6th, which I still think was kind of crazy for me to put them there, because I know I put them there. And they overachieved that. They finished in 4th place. They didn't show their age. They showed that they could handle the moment. You kind of thought maybe they were slipping at the end, but they showed, rather than their age, they showed veteran leadership, even though they have none besides Fabregas. The style in which they play is probably the prettiest across all of these teams in Serie A. They had the best defense, only allowing 29 goals. And what I'll also say that I was the most impressed is that, just if you watch the games tactically, the way Como approached the games tactically, every team fed into how they played Como ball. They didn't play their style of soccer. The only team that I'll say were able to kind of eventually play their style against them was Inter, but both times they fell right into Fabregas's trap, and they were able to just fucking drip pass right by them and get early leads. But the way they played every game, they played their style. They made teams play Como soccer. They were great defensively. They were pretty. They scored goals, and their average age is like fucking 22, and they did this. So the leadership, what he was able to overachieve, that is why we went with Cesc Fabregas as the manager of the year for Calcio Culture.
I think most bang for your buck. Like, if there was some sort of measurement about like overachieving, like, Chivu had the best roster in the league, and I think he did a very good job with that team. But Fabregas overachieved by so much, and I think that deserves manager of the year. More
like
than
you
anything.
everyone would, and if you go back to our preseason rankings again, I don't know if
boofed that one.
Yeah,
too.
I don't know if any of us had Inter, but Inter have had the best lineup, the best roster. They have the biggest salary in the league for the last 5, 6, 7 years. So Chivu did what he had to do in order to keep his job. He might have done a little bit more winning the double, but Cesc Fabregas overachieved immensely.
And there was even murmurs of him replacing Chivu. So I think that says everything you need to know.
Yeah.
But that's it. That's our team of the season, guys. Our last episode of the 25-26 campaign for Serie A. It was, I think, a underwhelming season, but regardless, we're here for it every step of the way. And as the summer kicks on, again, we'll be giving more World Cup content. And then as the Serie A season approaches, we'll be doing all of our preview episodes. Hopefully get some people on here that know what they're talking about more than us on the team specifics, so we can talk to you guys about it and hopefully do a better 26-27 table prediction than we did this year.
Yeah. Once again, I know we've apologized a bunch, but just going to apologize one more time. We apologize for the hiatus, especially at the end of the season. Not the best look for Calcio Culture, but we understand that we have the most faithful fans in the world that don't care and that are going to listen when we put out the videos. We will be better, but thank you for sticking with us. More to come. We'll have some, as Vos mentioned, some transfer episodes. Maybe we'll do specific team episodes. We'll do some World Cup coverage. We're not going to go away all summer. We will not go that long again without posting. We apologize. But listen, we got nowhere to go but up from here. Nowhere to go but up.
We bottomed out. We had to bottom out at some point.
So with that, thank you guys for listening. It's been a great episode. This was the 25-26 team of the season, Calcio Culture Serie A team of the season. Stay tuned for the next episode. World Cup coverage should be coming out soon. We're excited for it. But with that, follow, like, subscribe, 5 stars everywhere where you can listen. Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music. I'm forgetting other platforms, but you know what to do. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Like, comment, subscribe, 5 stars. Thank you, Paisanos. And as always, do not be a gagoots and Forza Calcio Culture.